Back in 2014, Ubisoft were in a bit of a mess. The original Watch Dogs graphics downgrade drama and the disappointing technical glitches of Assassin's Creed Unity almost butchered Ubisoft's reputation as a leading games developer and publisher. Both were undoubtedly good games at their core, but the controversy surrounding them resulted into a negative spin, downplaying the intriguing gameplay both games presented, especially Watch Dogs since it brought something really unique to the table. Watch Dogs, although a good game in its own right, had a few shortcomings which pushed the developers back to the drawing board for a couple of years, and the result of that is Watch Dogs 2, a new entry in the series starring Marcus Holloway, a much more agile, athletic, flamboyant, and interesting character than Aiden Pierce could ever be. Perhaps what makes Marcus such a colorful character are his several off-the-beat and crazy bunch of hackers that are always head and shoulders above even the most daunting situations. Whether it's Wrench, the most notable member of DedSec, or Stara, the group's public image specialist, each of them has a unique trait that sets them apart and yet makes them feel that they are a single, unified whole of this crazy, secret hacking collective. But don't take them for granted. They are a talented bunch whose ultimate goal is to stop the exploitation of the common public by taking down the city's CTOS2 and Bloom, the company behind CTOS. Watch Dogs 2's story borrows a lot from the current social climate and issues. As our lives become more and more digitally dependent, a lot of that data is becoming exposed to outsiders who either exploit to control the masses or sell them to bigger companies for profiling. The game's story doesn't shy away from tackling heavy topics, and we're surprised how smartly it manages to handle all of these subjects through some excellent voice acting and beautifully crafted in-game cutscenes. In the past many years, we haven't played a game from Ubisoft that's so bold in its vision, and yet so lighthearted and simplistic in its narrative direction. However, much like many modern open-world games, Watch Dogs 2 also struggles to keep its focus on the story. It's unfortunately one of the main curses that seems to plague open-world games these days, and although the storytelling style of Watch Dogs 2 tries to maintain the balance between narrative and gameplay, it does tend to forget at times that it also has a story to tell. This isn't necessarily a negative, and hardly a showstopper, but with such a good story on hand, it's hard to digest that one of the most exciting parts of the new Watch Dogs takes a backseat at times. A lot of your time will be spent in downtown San Francisco, and this is where the game truly outshines its brilliant predecessor. Hacking mechanics are still very much intact in the sequel, but they've been enhanced and made better than ever before. Circuit puzzles are a new addition to the gameplay, wherein Marcus needs to ensure consistent flow of electricity through intermediate nodes to unlock power sources, disarm bombs, or gain access to important information. Furthermore, Marcus can also control vehicles and make them crash in random directions, or hack an electric junction box to either switch them off, or even better, turn it into a proximity mine. But perhaps two of the biggest additions to your hacking armory are the quadcopter and a remote-controlled car, both of which can be used for much more than merely remote hacking or scouting security guards. We completed a number of missions using these gadgets alone, and it was a ton of fun due to the number of opportunities these gizmos provided. However, their implementation is weird at times. For example, in one of the missions, Marcus had to activate an elevator, and we pulled out a remote-controlled car to reach the desired location and did the needful, but due to a mistake, the gadget got destroyed. We reloaded the checkpoint, but instead of the gadget, Marcus was at the checkpoint. How could he be present at the checkpoint when the remote-controlled car was initially present there and Marcus was waiting outside the restricted area? Inconsistencies like these do drag the experience down a bit and make the missions feel less rewarding, should this kind of thing happen to you, that is. Another shortcoming we wanted to touch upon is the dumb AI, which seems to kick in at random given opportunities. So we're infiltrating an office and took out the guards in front of the people who were working at their desk and they didn't respond. They were just sitting there like they didn't care at all, although this was most likely a bug in the system, and we hardly came across anything like this in further playthroughs. The bottom line is that even though the hacking system is improved upon, dumb AI and glitches like these can detract players from the core experience. Remember how in the original Watch Dogs you could get a hold of a grenade launcher quite early in the game and create havoc on the streets? Well, this isn't the case in Watch Dogs 2, as the grenade launcher is rather costly, and you'll most likely unlock it at a much later stage. In fact, many times the game encourages you to avoid combat situations and direct confrontations with your enemies. Instead, it pushes for a stealth approach, presenting you with a level design that is far more welcoming to your remote-controlled car to go in, do its job, and get out. We really like this approach to level design as it adds a layer of challenge that the original lacked. The addition of parkour makes escape easier for Marcus, but overall, we found its addition rather unwanted. We initially thought that its inclusion will result into Assassin's Creed-like chase sequences, but this is clearly not the case here. The original's robust progression and skill system also return, with plenty of new upgrades that will open new ways to play with the surrounding areas and enemies. Much praise must also be showered on the game's performance on the PlayStation 4. The game seems to be running at a rock-solid 30 frames per second, an acceptable standard for open-world games on consoles. We were able to play a good chunk of the game on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and we guess it's safe to assume that playing on Sony's latest machine delivers the best image quality and with minimal texture pop-in. Regardless of whatever platform you choose to play Watch Dogs 2 on, you can be rest assured of a beautiful looking city with amazing lighting effects and vivid, intricately designed locations, buildings, and architecture. The dev team seems to be inspired by the color palette of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it seems this was the right way to go about it in the sequel. Watch Dogs 2 offers a lot more than the minor and irritating glitches. With its wealth of story and side missions, all backed up by intriguing hacking mechanics, you'll never find a time void of fun and excitement. Its casual way of telling the story and its amazing yet crazy cast of characters will no doubt bring back fans, but will also surprisingly appeal to newcomers. Overall, Watch Dogs 2 marks a return to form for Ubisoft, and this can only mean good things for the gaming community.
Like this video? Why not give us a like and subscribe? We try and upload amazing videos almost every single day. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.